सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। Yesterday we saw Manasaha Kamam Akutim Vachaha Satyamashīmahi. So the sequence goes Kshut Pipasam Alam Jeshtham Alakshmim Nashayamyaham. First, O Mother, let me get rid of all the influences of Jeshtha Lakshmi. Jeshtha Lakshmi happens to be the older sister of Lakshmi Devi, who was born in the Kshira Samudra, but she is exactly opposite to all the attributes that are of Lakshmi Devi. And because of this Jeshtha Lakshmi, Kshut Pipasa Malam Jestham, various things that get contributed to our life of discomfort and sorrows. May I remove those basic reasons, basic cause of all my lethargy, ignorance and these patterns, may I weed them out. After having prayed that, Ishwarigam Sarva Bhutanam Tamihopahvaye Shriyam. O Mother, you are worshipped as the sacred cow, you are worshipped also as Pushtivardhini, you are worshipped as Mother Earth. All these represent sacred qualities of forbearance, patience, forgiveness and giving the most sattvic out to the entire nature, entire world. May I imbibe those sattvic qualities. Along with these sattvic qualities, Manasaha Kamamakutim Vachaha Satyamashīmahi. Those kinds of desires which are born in my heart, which lead me to fulfill the righteousness in my life, may you give the power, Akutim, determination and direction to my desire of living a righteous life. Many times we have the basic desire of leading a righteous life. We really love that idea. We respect those who follow it. But when it comes to following it ourselves, many conveniences that we give up that path too soon, too early. And the only reason is that we do not have the firmness, the clarity required and the determination required, which are represented by the word Akutim. Manasaha Kamam Akutim. May my speech have truthfulness. May I get the Vak Shuddhi, thereby getting Vak Siddhi, so that I abide by what I say. Meaning, I do not say that which I am sure not to abide by. Meaning, I do not have to live a non-integrated life. Integrity is what is sought from Mother. And after having sought this, Pashunam Rupam Annasya, may the animalness, meaning the organs of perception action which are running into the world of their objects, they run into their field of objects because of not having the proper balance. May I balance these organs of perception and action. So, there is step by step, there is so much of preparation sought. After having thus prepared, then the prayer continues. Repeat after me. Kardamena prajabhuta mayi sambhava kardama shriyam vasaya me kule mataram padmamalini. Yesterday we saw the superficial meaning of this particular mantra. Kardamena prajabhuta mayi sambhava kardama shriyam vasaya me kule mataram padmamalinim. O Mother, Parabrahma Swarupini, you have been called Mother for the first time by your Manasaputra, who is sage Kardama. He is supposed to be very deep in his austerities, and being the first child in the entire universe, this Kardama, he was also a Prajapati. Wherever Kardama stepped, you showered your grace, because it was your child, your son. I invoke that Kardama into my heart, so that you will shower always your grace wherever Kardama is. May your grace be always on me. Suddenly, after having Kshut Pipasa Malam from that order of thought, suddenly this seems to be a little awkwardly off from the pattern of logic. So, when we dwell deeper into the meaning, here Kardama is actually referring to Ganesha, and here Adi Parashakti or Parabrahma Swarupini is being invoked as Parvati herself. In order to reach Lord Shiva, this way you will find it in the Shiva Upasana mantras or the Shiva Tantra Upasana mantras. Shiva is represented by the Sahasrara, and the Kundalini Shakti is represented by Mother Parvati herself. And the seeker can travel holding on to the hands of Mother all the way reaching up to the Sahasrara only when at the Mooladhara Kardama is propitiated and invoked. So, who is this Kardama? This Kardama is none other than Lord Ganesha himself. Remember, he does not allow even Paramashiva to get in. That is how he held the fort. Without his permission, do you think a sadhaka can go up in his spiritual life? Hence, therefore, in all our rituals, the first one to be worshipped and propitiated is Lord Ganesha, without whose permission we cannot step in to the spiritual world. So, here he is talking about that Kardama, the firstborn, who is Ganesha, by whose presence, whose invocation, whose blessings, the spiritual journey in the form of the Kundalini Shakti arises. So, what do we have to do? Invoke that blessings of Lord Ganesha before we start anything in the beginning. So, here the true seeker, having focused on removing all the negativities, invoking all the positive qualities, strengthening all the values and turning them into virtues. That was a beautiful read. The difference between a value and a virtue. It is called a value when it is seen in others and respected. It becomes a virtue once we start practicing it and living it. So those values are invoked, practiced and transformed into virtues, strengthened by those virtues. Then when the seeker is sitting on the seat of meditation, what does he have to do? He has to invoke first Lord Ganesha, seek his blessings and then start the meditative processes. Whether that meditative process is a puja or a japa or a dhyana or saguna sakara dhyana, nirguna nirakara dhyana, whichever be the format of our puja or whichever be the format of our sadhana, starting with the blessings of Kardama. Kardamena prajabhuta mai sambhava Kardama. So thus having invoked his blessings, me kule vasaya. Me kule vasaya. One meaning is, may my ancestors be blessed. May my present generation be blessed. May my lineage be blessed. Even Nachiketa, when he goes to Lord Yama, Trisro Ratra, he stayed there for 3 nights and he did not take any hospitality from his wife or anybody else. They invited him, but he said, no, my purpose is to come and meet here Yama, and if he is out there on his job, I will wait. So he waited on the doorsteps. Athithi not being taken care of is a big sin. Not just sin, all the acquired punya also gets depleted. As strong as Yama himself trembles in front of that young Vatu standing there, he says, whatever be your reason why you are not going inside or taking the Athithya, but you are bringing it on my punya. So in order to redeem myself, I give you 3 boons. Imagine a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, what amazing straightforward thinking he had. With the first boon, he guarantees to take care of his parents, because that was his first responsibility. I love that character in Nachiketa, and the way he puts it also. He says, when you send me back, see, when you go to Yama, it is obvious that you are going in a different format. You are no more in this physical form, though it is not very explicitly said there. So there he says, when you send me back again to my father, make sure that my parents have peace of mind. Let them not be scared, let them not carry any kind of guilt, let them be righteous as they were before. So my first boon I seek on behalf of my parents, my first responsibility. The second responsibility is towards the entire humanity, the entire society. I am what I am because of so many unknown factors that have come in together to make me who I am, what I am, which is what the society has provided me for. So to give back to that society is also my responsibility. So teach me one certain vidya which I can go teach to the entire community, entire humanity, so that they are assured of Swarga. great happiness for a long time. So that is our second immediate responsibility, to take care of the entire kula. And that is the reason they also say that when somebody takes to this path and realizes their 7 generations are blessed from narakat pramuchyate. 7 generations. Now there are interpretations that are given of various kinds, how you interpret these 7 generations. For benefit of doubt, I take the biggest bandwidth available. So the best is 7 generations above me and 7 generations after me. Narakat, ghorat narakat pramuchyate. When one realizes. So the entire kula, may it be blessed. Some say that you are in the middle, 3 generations above you, 3 generations after you. That makes it 7. And some interpret it as saying that who knows about the ancestors. Definitely it will bless the 7 generations after you. So I said I will take the biggest bandwidth of meaning. 7 generations above you, 7 generations after you. And this I am not making it up. Shayanacharya himself gives all 3 options in his commentary. So why not take the best shot, best option? This is one meaning. The other meaning is Kardamam Ambikasunam Gananatam Samashrayet. The organs of perception action are disciplined. The mind and the desires in the mind are trained to be righteous with the strength of willpower and determination, akutim. Thought, word and action are in one sync, trikarana shuddhi. Thus, having taken care of every single aspect of action in my day-to-day life, sanctifying it, purifying it, becoming more and more sattvic, such an individual, when they sit on the seat of meditation, they get the benefit of a speed track to realization. Not the other way around, which is what is being sold these days so, I should say, efficiently. And the promise is that you meditate for everything. You meditate and everything will take care. Meditate, you will get concentration, focus. Meditate, you will get all this. But meditation is not a joke. If our day-to-day life is not sattvic and we sit on the seat of meditation, that meditation will not be fruitful. So, having acquired that sattvikata, Kardamam Ambika Sunam, that Kardama who is the son of Ambika Devi is Parvati Devi, Gananatham Samashrayet. I invoke that Kardama with whose blessings the Kundalini gets ignited. And when this Kundalini gets ignited, what does it do? It has to go through straight one specific nadi. In Ganesh Atharva Sirsha also I tried explaining that there are 72,001 nadis. Of these 72,001 nadis, you can identify physiologically 72,000 of them. that one nadi which cannot be identified as a physical one is a subtler one which runs through the spinal cord, which is called the Sushumna nadi. So, if you can imagine the Sushumna nadi or the spinal cord, right in between that spinal cord is this Sushumna nadi. The topmost connection or the connectivity that it reaches to is the Sahasrara, a lotus with Sahasradala, 1000 petals. Mooladhara is the bottommost one. In between all these chakras are represented through the lotuses. And who is living on these lotuses? Who is living in these lotuses? So, here it is said, Padma Malinim Shriyam Vasaya Me Kule. Kula here means that Amrita, that nectarine force, the nectarine juice of Kundalini is called Kula. That is why in Lalita Sahasranama, Kulamritaika Rasika. So, she is the one who is propitiated, worshipped through this Amrita. And as this Kundalini raises, in each Padma, there is each lotus at each of these chakras, who is propitiated and worshipped there? As though this Kundalini Shakti is being poured as the Abhisheka to this Mother Parabrahma Swarupini. So, we invoke that Ganesha's blessing. Literally, the word I like to use here is kickstart. He has to literally kick that Kundalini up, that it goes, reaches the next level, and then fills that entire lotus, nourishes it, bathes that mother with this rasa, and from there, when it is full, it reaches to the next. Having reached to the Sahasrara, fulfilling all the 1000 petals, and then it again comes back connecting to the Mooladhara. So, the whole cycle is complete. That is called the Yasha of Shri. That is called the true blessing of Mother in the form of Shri Devi. That is the actual true wealth that the seeker should be after. Rest all, it's actually a hindrance. Because we get caught up in its different attributes that it provides, that we can become very sloppy in our sadhana. And as many seekers find, no better initiative. If there is dukkha, there is no better initiative than dukkha to take us beyond all these limitations. Because as long as we are in sukha, to find that balance becomes very impossible. Very rare few are those who see the dukkha in others, realize it for themselves and get liberated. Most of the seekers go through that little phase of dukkha, a steep learning curve of dukkha, and suddenly get totally charged up. What am I stuck in? So, to interpret Mother as Shri Devi in the form of just as wealth, not that she doesn't mean wealth. Yes, wealth also is one of the aspects, one of the attributes, but the greatest wealth is the unfoldment of this Shakti, wherein this Shakti of Kundalini is mother, reaches the Shiva and unites with that Shiva in that Sahasrara. And who is the key factor there? The key factor there is Kardama, who is Ambika Sunam Gananatham Samashrayet. We invoke that Kardama as a blessing. Yeah, that I have already explained before you came in. So here, Padma can also mean that the entire Shri Yantra, Shri Chakra is known as Padma Mandala, Padma Mandala Madhyastha, the one who is living right in the middle of the Padma. So Padma Malinim means the one who is invoked through, invoked by, invoked as the very Padma Mandala itself, because she is living right in the middle of that Padma Mandala. In a poetic gesture, some of the artists, painters, some of the explanations given is they view that the entire lake is filled with lotuses, and right there, as beautiful, tender and fragrantful as the lotus is in the middle, mother sitting amidst all these lotuses, Padma Malini. Pond, a lake full of Padma, and in between is sitting mother. You can visualize that. Most of them, all of these Padmas are the white colored with a golden tinge on the tips, and right in the middle of such pond is mother sitting, which is exactly what is the description of the Padma here, that once this entire Shakti reaches the Parasthiti, having reached the entire lotus blossoms, she is sitting in the middle of that Padma. In this particular mantra, Kardama is the Rishi and the mantra is in the Anushtup Chandas. Now, having invoked, see, starting any process is not that difficult. Having taken up something, seeing it through is the difficult task. Many a seekers start, but they get stuck in their own ambiguities, stuck in the tests that the mother throws at them. There are many enticing things that can happen, and one of the most powerful enticing things that can happen is you start seeing different unfoldments of Shaktis. Ashta Shakti, Navanidhi, various kinds of mystic forces start unfolding. These are the tests. Don't get caught in these tests. Once, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was sitting on the shores of Gangaji. He had just shifted to Dakshineshwar Kali temple, because the Rani understood the great master that he was, and she had given him a little kutia there to stay. And there was one student who was not very satisfied with his guidance. He was one of the first students So he quit. And after 12 or 13 years, when Ramakrishna Paramahamsa ji was sitting on the shores of Ganga, this student comes by. He does his namaskar chamatkar to his guru, or the first guru, and then he looks at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa and says, "Do you know, I can now walk on water." And he suddenly starts showing off. So Ganga ji is flowing in his front, and so he walks a couple of steps in, runs back and says, "Now I have acquired this siddhi, Ashta Shakti, Ashta Siddhis. So now I can walk." So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa really felt bad. I mean, his heart was filled with so much of karuna, compassion. He said, "Beta, that which can be crossed with 5 naya paisa in those days, you wasted 13 years for it." And that struck a chord in that student's heart. There are many meditators who keep asking questions. They say, "In my meditation, I see lots of these glowing lights." So I sometimes funnily tell them that next time you meditate and find them, please bring them, because if they can glow without any electricity, we would definitely want to reduce our electricity bills at Saket and Chitrakoot. Bring them here, because we get caught up. What is the meaning of that colorful, glowing thing that happens? You're going on a highway. You see street lights. What does it mean? It means you are on track. Keep going. Don't get stuck with that. I smell certain things. I cannot say close your nose. I can say close your eyes. Cannot guide saying that close your nose. Many get caught up in these siddhis, which are quite possible. So don't get caught up in it. Why? The purpose for which the sadhana has been started is not to stop by in these small little ponds of Shaktis, but to go to that parasthithi wherein these Shaktis will appear trivial. So that consistency to reach, the determination to reach to there, every seeker has to pray for it. And it is with this very intention, whenever we have any satsang, I do not fail to chant, invoking the entire Guru Parampara's grace in chanting Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. The intention behind choosing that particular shloka to be chanted before we start is, O Lord, in the form of Guru, you are very Brahma. You have created the seekerhood in me, which is the easy part. Now, having created that seekerhood in me, sustain that seekerhood in me, being the Vishnu as well. Gurur Vishnu. And it is your responsibility. I have surrendered unto you completely. I may get stuck in various of these different turns and twists that the sadhana can take me through. May you always be with me to shatter all these blocks where I can get caught up in the form of Maheshwara, who alone can remove all these obstacles. The similar kind of meaning here the Rishi is trying to seek for all of us. He says to invoke this is easy, to start this sadhana is easy, to consistently maintain it. So there was this happened in Dallas itself. So Guruji must have given that particular devotee a certain method, a certain initiation or certain process to start. So that devotee comes, and I was there in that room at that time. Swamiji, for the past 1.5 years I have been chanting the mantra that you have given. So Guruji looked at him and said, good. Now what do I do next? You know, I have now learnt how to do it, I am able to do it, I am doing it efficiently. What next? So Guruji looked at him very, continue. Was it nahi? Nothing more? See, this is not a field of gymnastics that you have learnt one particular, what do you call those? Flips. Okay. You have learnt one flip and then you go back to say that I have learnt, mastered one flip, now teach me the next flip. There is one method. And what really is required by the seeker is to maintain that consistency. There is this old story wherein we are often told that if you want to dig a well, you have to focus in one spot and rigorously focus in digging through. Not having that consistency, you dig 10 different holes. Each hole 4 or 5 feet. You reach nowhere. Of course, entire backyard has become holy now. Lots of holes. But you have not hit the well. You can do that only when, though slowly, but consistently maintained, without getting distracted by any other distractions. Because for the seeker to stay focused is the next challenge. So here the Rishi says, repeat after me. Apasrajantu snigdhani चिक्लीतवसमे गृहे निच देवीं मातरं श्रियं वासय मे कुले आपसृजन्तु स्निग्धानि चिक्लीतवसमे गृहे निच देवीं मातरं श्रियं वासय मे कुले. आपः सृजन्तु. May the holy waters create the harmonious effect. We will go into the deeper meaning later, first just the word meaning. Chiklita vasame gruhe. Chiklita is another or the second Manasa Putra of Sri Devi. 2 days ago we saw that she has 3 Manasa Putras. One is Kardama, Chiklita and Ananda. And he wants to be now equal to everyone. So he says, I have invited Kardama. May Chiklita also be invited. May your Manasa Putra Chiklita also be invited. Nicha Devi Mataram. I invoke you as mother. This should answer many a mistaken um, or the wrong identity or the wrong understanding. Many people say, yesterday also as we were stepping out, the discussion was, are women allowed to chant this Sri Sukta? Can they use it for puja? If we do something wrong, mother takes the terrible form, and that terrible form we can have lot of pratyavaya dosha. It depends. If you are invoking her as a mother, would a mother, let me change the question, you as a mother, would you think of anything in your life to harm your own children? Would you? In spite of this being Kali Yuga? Not even in the weirdest dreams. So when I am invoking the Parabrahma Swarupini directly Sakshat as my own mother, why would there be any kind of Pratyavaya dosha? The sins of omissions and commissions. You do certain things and not do certain things in a certain pattern, then there is a whiplash effect. Now you invoke her as mother, and then we do chant. Mantrahinam, kriyahinam. I, with whatever focus or whatever learning, whatever I have learnt, I may have committed lots of mistakes, but you are my mother. Mataram. I invoke you as mother in my heart. Vasayame kule. Please nourish the movement of that kulamrita rasa. May that rasa move forward consistently. Apaha srujantu. Apaha srujantu. May the waters. Now here waters, many commentators have given many meanings. That it is the it is because of these waters that we have life throbbing on this planet. It is that which connects everyone. All meanings set aside. One meaning that really appeals in the commentaries is that the apaha srujantu is indicative of a consistent flow. Meaning, I have started this sadhana with your grace. May this sadhana be continued. Srujantu apaha. May this continuity, consistency be maintained, which can happen only with your blessings. Of course, don't mistaken the meaning that you feel lethargic, stop and say, why? I don't feel the blessings. The effort to maintain it consistently should be there. Swami, I feel very mechanical. Though mechanical, don't stop, continue. Aren't there days wherein you just eat because you have to survive? Not because of its taste, not because of its beauty or glory there. You just eat because you have to survive. Similarly, rain or shine. Never should be a day in our life wherein sadhana has to be stopped for any other cause. In fact, in Gurudev's own words, he would be like, on the top of his voice saying, let the whole world be on fire. Do not stop your sadhana. Let that sadhana continue. Meaning, let no reason come in between. It is again not to be misunderstood that, let the whole world go, bhaad mein jaye. I'll do my sadhana. It should not be instead of sadhana doing something. Do your sadhana and do the service as well. But that sadhana, the consistency has to be maintained. Apaha srujantu. Chiklita vasame grihe. Chiklita is the son born to Lakshmi Devi in the Krishna Avatara, who was Manmatha reborn. Manmatha was reborn. Kamadeva, having disturbed Lord Shiva, he took a big risk in disturbing Lord Shiva, knowing very well what could be the end result. He was actually doing Loka Kalyana. And he literally not just burnt his tail, but he burnt himself totally. So Rati Devi comes back and pleads Lord Shiva. So he says that your husband will not have a form, but will be alive and will be reborn to you as your husband in the Krishna Avatar. And there he was born as Manmatha, reborn in the form of Chiklita. Here the meaning is a little deeper that we need to understand. Until one wins over the desire, I would change the word for or the meaning for kama rather than just being desire, I would call it lust and craving. Desire seems to be very harmless. Specifically the lust and cravings, they are enriched because of this, the food and the different kinds of things that we eat. If this kama vikara is not taken care, the virya which supports the kundalini to raise is not enriched. So, O Mother, I invoke your blessings to have Chiklita, your son, Kamadeva, and the only one that can control that Kama is when I surrender myself unto you. See, the one beautiful example, in the olden days, there was no grinding machines, and probably that is why they were healthy also. They used to use lot of calories. If you have to do a wet grinding, there was one different set of two stones which should be used for grinding. Whereas it was a dry, so there are two stones, the lower stone is heavier and right in the middle it has a peg, and that peg in Sanskrit is called Kuta. And the upper stone which is placed on it has three holes, one hole where the peg is installed, two other holes from where you drop the grains. In the olden days in the prison, they used to employ all the prisoners to pound the wheat into flour. So हिंदी में इसलिए कहते हैं, they don't say कि मैं जेल गया था, चक्की पीसने गया था. So that chakki is what I am trying to talk about. What do you call that in English? I don't have a simile for it, or a, okay, grindstone, fair enough. So Ramakrishna Paramahamsa uses that example so beautifully. He says that when you put the grains in that grindstone, those grains that move away from the kuta, from the peg, they get pounded, they get pissified. Those which are staying right next to that peg, though they are in that grinding machine, they are saved from being ground. Similarly, those of us devotees, those of us sadhakas, bhakta, who are closest to the core of being, closest to the Mother Divine, holding on to her feet, though we are in that machinery of samsara sagara, samsara chakra is also a grinding machine. We are spared from being pounded by the samsara chakra. So, O Mother, holding on to your feet, bless me that I don't get pounded by this Chiklita and his after effects. Let me win over my passions, let me win over my cravings, let me win over my lust. Chiklita vasame grihe. Continuing further. See, all these beautiful mantras, they are more of Anubhava mantra. Anubhava mantra, once you start practicing it, the mantra itself will reveal unto you as experience. That is the beauty of these mantras. Because many of us keep asking that I am trying to be on this sadhana. What is the guarantee that I am still on track? You will find these anubhavas. And what are the anubhava? So it is said, Ardram Pushkarinim Pushtim Pingalam Padma Malinim Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jata Vedo Ma'avaha. Ardram, we have already discussed in the beginning mantras what is the meaning of Ardra. One meaning I said was she is born in that Ardra nakshatra. So hence therefore Ardra is directly referring to Mother herself. Ardram also means the sapidity or the wetness, wetness indicative of karuna and compassion. O Mother compassionate. As a child, I am bound to fall, I am bound to make mistakes. Ardram, you are the compassionate one. You are the Pushkarini. Pushkarini, the one who pushes the sadhaka. Some of the interpretations given, they call Pushkarini as Pushtikarini, the one who the one who nourishes, the one who is responsible to take care of the sadhaka as the sadhana is being done. I may slip, but thou art the compassionate one. You are the compassionate one. You are the one who is the satiating one, the fulfilling one, Pushkarini. Pushtim, Pushtim, until I reach to your feet. I am trying to hold on to your feet, but please, you hold on to me. This is the beauty of this mantra. Because if I am holding on to your feet, in various different situations, I may lose that grip and slip. But oh mother, you are the compassionate one. However busy you are, please hold on to me. See, there are back in India and other places, when women are working, what do? They tie their child and then they continue work. It almost gives me that visualization that mother, I may slip, but you tightly tie me down to you somewhere so that I don't slip away from this path. I have n number of reasons why I could slip. That you are the compassionate one, shower your compassion unto me so that I never slip from this path. Ardram Pushkarinim Pushtim Pingalam Padmamalinim. Pingalam, Pingalam, you are the glowing truth in this entire universe. You are the only glowing aspect in this entire universe. Without you, the rest of the creation is jada. Jada, inert. Pingala is that Chaitanyavanta, because that glowing Chaitanya, because of which everything is enlivening. Pingalam Padma Malinim. Again, with the hue of the Padma or the garland of Padma, or wearing a necklace of Padma made of silver and gold. Various aspects. Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatam Vedoma Avaha. Here again, we started with the first mantra invoking Jataveda. So, O Jataveda, again reminding us of various meanings of Jataveda. Jataveda, the invoking fire. The connection between this world and the subtler world is the God fire, Agni Deva, Jataveda. Jataveda means the scriptures. Jataveda means Swayam Narayana himself. The one which is known through the Veda, Jata Veda, the one who is known through the Vedas, that Narayana himself I invoke, that O Lord, that looking at you, you are Sarva Shaktiman, and looking at me in comparison, I am not even Alpa Shaktiman, I am no Shaktiman. I invoke you so that this Shakti of yours enriches my life as sadhana so that I can reach unto your feet. This is the word meaning. Now moving forward, Pushkara also means the elephants. Mother Lakshmi Devi is worshipped, is served by 8 different elephants. Pushkara is the male elephant. And in order to take the burden of this entire universe, these 8 elephants help mother hold this universe in its balance. That is why they are called Ashtadiggaja. Ashta, 8, Dik, directions, Gaja, these elephants. They are called the Pushkara. And in their service, usually in the photographs and other places you might have seen that Lakshmi Devi is sitting in that lotus, there are 2 elephants. These elephants are the Pushkara. And what are they doing? Ardram, they are pouring the nectar. In the Amrita Kalasha, they are pouring the nectar. So when we are worshipping, one of the most important ways to contemplate or meditate upon whenever we do our worship, whichever form of God it is, your Ishtadaiva. Imagine that Ishtadaiva to be seated in the Hridaya Kamala. Hridaya Kamala, in your lotus of your heart. Seated in that lotus, bathe them with the nectar of the Amrita Rasa from inside. All your energies, resources, intentions, intensities, thought, desire, every aspect of it driven in service of that form of Lord in your heart. And when you can do that kind of manasika sankalpa, that the Lord is in your heart and you are constantly worshipping that Lord with, you are constantly communicating with that Lord with this Amrita Varsha. In the Lalita Sahasranama it says Sudha Bhivarshini. Sudha meaning the Amrita. And this Amrita is being offered by the Kalasha of these elephants, and these elephants are representing all our different Shaktis brought together. They are offering their services unto this mother. Now, demystifying it, taking it away from Kundalini and other things to put it in a simple format. Each one of us is blessed with different Shaktis, different skills, different potentials. Instead of imagining that we are working with these skills, offering our skills to our bosses, our husbands, our wives, our children, instead, it is just a change, flipping of our imagination, that I am not serving these people, but I am serving Mother Divine, that Ishtadaiva, in these different formats, and offer these potentialities at their feet. When constantly that abhyasa is done, Chandram Prabhasam, that mother who's compassionate one, you start seeing the effect of that worship in your day-to-day life, first as peace. When you see a full moon, glowing full moon, do you ever get agitated? Unless you are in a Hindi movie. You see the full moon and then Chaudhvi ka chand, and you get distracted. The moment you see a beautiful full moon rise, it is ahladakarani. All the restlessness is put to rest. It immediately gives us that peace. So one test for all of us. Am I on this track of spiritual sadhana? One result to look out for. What is that one result? In spite of various overwhelming situations, am I having that mental balance and equipoise within? Am I at peace with myself? It is not being indifferent to the situation. I don't care, whatever happens, let it happen. I can assure you, even with that indifference, people are not at peace. There is an amount of peace, and with that peace, your outlook is, whatever be it, I will find a solution to handle it. I will find a method to totally justify and cater to the situation. That peace which is beyond fear, Chandram. So, do we find that? Then we are on track. There is one little clarification, is that this Chandra that we are talking about is at the level of our Agnya Chakra, which is still at the lower level, wherein it is the peace. Because at the Sahasrara it is called Chit Chandra Shakti. Chit Chandra Shakti is the higher state of bliss. So, here Chandra is indicative of Dukkha Nivritti. There will be misery all around, but to be miserable or not is a choice that we make. So, we get to that balance within, wherein in spite of the situation, we will still know how to carry a smile on our face. Chandram Prabhasam. Now, in this particular mantra, in this particular Rik mantra, Jata Veda is the Rishi, and this also is in the Anushtup Chandas. Most of them are in the Anushtup or the Trishtup Chandas. Now, in the 14th mantra, continuing in the same format, again Jata Veda is invoked. In the 14th mantra it reads, repeat after me. Ardram Yakarinim Yashtim Suvarnam Hema Malinim Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jata Vedo Ma'avaha. He Jata Veda Mam Avaha. Bring unto me the sadhaka who has given his manifesto of how the sadhana has to be done, who is sincere enough. So, to such sadhaka, that Lakshmi Devi, who is the compassionate one, Ardram, Yashtim Suvarnam Hema Malinim. Now, Yashtim, one of the interpretation is, she is the one holding a rod in her hand. Scary. One direction you say Ardram, she is the compassionate one. On the other hand, she also has a rod in her hand. Now, rod, Yakkarini, is a Vedic form of saying Yashtikarini. Yashtikarini, somebody who is holding the rod, Dharma Dhwaja. She is representing the Dharma. May I lead my life in total abidance with Dharma. Let me not do anything which is even remotely can be considered as adharma. Ardram yakkarinim yashtim suvarnam hema malinim. Suvarnam is also, we have already seen it. One added meaning that we can talk about here is, by adhering to this path. What is the Suvarna? What Suvarna also means goal. What is the goal? One of the names of Lakshmi Devi is Moksha Lakshmi. Moksha Lakshmi, that liberation. And moksha is not a desire. See, if it were a desire, in the Chatur Purushartha, we should have only three, right? Dharma, Artha, Kama. If the Rishis have separated it and called moksha as different from Kama, I will tell you the reason why. Why is moksha not a desire? You desire for that which is not yours. Isn't it true? Not necessarily somebody else's that you desire, but you desire for that which is not yet yours. That which is already yours you may want to protect, but you don't desire to own it, because you already own it. What is moksha? Moksha is not a desire to own anything, you already are that. So what are you trying to do? You are trying to identify that which you already are. You are trying to remember, recognize that which you already are. The process of recognition cannot be called as a desire. If I may use the example, and tickled to use it at this moment. So by this definition, Romney is desirous of becoming the president. Whereas Obama is holding on to that which he is already. So what is he trying to do? Regain his own position. Similarly, internally, what are you? You already are that Satchidananda. So the Moksha Lakshmi, Suvarna Lakshmi that is being talked about here, the highest goal that one can think of is not a desire. It is that which I already am and have to recognize it. I have just forgotten it. Suvarnam hema malinim. Having reached which? Hema malinim. I reach to the feet of the one who is constantly adorned with the utmost purity. Hema malinim, the beautiful lotus, here represents the highest state of purity, which is moksha. Suvarnam hema malini. Then Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim, then that experience is equivalent of Surya, which is glowing, Hiranya gold, which is also glowing, Lakshmim, which is also the ever glowing form, meaning having reached to that moksha, one, there is nothing more to attain. Second, if at all there is a seeker who is asking a question, how do I know if I have realized or not? Can be a question, right? What is the guarantee I have attained moksha? Do I get a certificate? You know, Chinmay Mission letterhead. You are thus thereby declared that you are now realized. Nobody gives a certificate. So how do I know I am realized? Does the sun need a flashlight to recognize? You ask your son, you know, it has been cloudy all day, just check if the sun is out. So does your son need to take a flashlight and search? I searched the whole sky, mom. No need. It is self-evident. The glow from within will be evident. Suryam Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma'avaha. May, hey Jataveda, may you bring this ultimate Lakshmi format of moksha unto me in this very life. This is the Moola mantra. These 14 mantras are called the Moola mantra. The 15th one is the Phalashruti of the Sri Sukta. Other than these 15 mantras, whatever is added in is not the main portion of the Rik mantra. You don't see it in the main Vedas. There have been various glorious shlokas from different Puranas and different other Shastras, which at different periods of time great rishis have added it as Phalashruti. There is nothing wrong chanting that. But the Moola mantra ends with this 14. The 15th one itself is the Phalashruti. If you are doing a japa of Sri Sukta, I am not talking of Parayan, you know, wherein you do the Parayan, then you can include the entire Phalashruti, the rest of the Phalashruti, Siddha Lakshmir, Moksha Lakshmir, Sri Lakshmir, you know, all these different shlokas that are there, you can chant them. But if you are doing it as a mantra japa, then you can focus on just these 15 mantras. So the Phalashruti, the 15th one, and within the Phalashruti, the very next shloka it says, Shriyah Panchadasha Chancha Shri Kama Satatam Japet. The Phalashruti itself claims that the Moola mantra is of Panchadasha Chancha, is of 15 mantras. So the 15th mantra, repeat after me. Tam ma'avaha Jatavedo Lakshmim Anapagaminim Yasyam Hiranyam Prabhutam Gavo Dasyo Ashvan Vindeyam Purushanaham. Now this 15th mantra, the reason I called it the Phalashruti is like he is trying to tie the entire thought down. And he said, I invoke that Lakshmi. We have already seen that word. Which form of Lakshmi? Anapagaminim. Gaminim? She comes and goes. Back in India, I was at somebody's house. You know, it is a tradition in South that in the evening times you light the lamp or turn the lamp on and you open the front door. So the grandmother of that house opened the front door to turn the light on. The grandson asked, why do you always open the door? So she said, to invite Lakshmi Devi inside. So he said, oh, hold on. So I was amused as to what was he trying to do. He said, hold on. And he ran to the back door and shut it close. So grandmother asked him, why? I don't want her to leave. Let her come and stay. Gaminim Gachaswarupinim, like that she always is chanchala. But I am trying to invoke that Lakshmi Devi as the Sadhana Lakshmi, Moksha Lakshmi. May I invoke, O Jataveda, through you. Tamma avaha Jataveda. Please bless me, O Jataveda, O Narayana, bless me. That Lakshmim Anapagaminim, that Lakshmi who is going to come as a stable form, a consistent form of my sadhana until I reach to that golden abode of moksha. Yasyam hiranyam vindeyam, yasyam hiranyam prabhutam, gavaha dasyaha ashwan vindeyam purushanaham. Having gained which, I gain the highest form of prosperity. Highest form of success being, having taken this human birth. So many people ask, right, what is the purpose of life? This is the ultimate purpose of life. To reach to that abode within. So I invoke that Sri Lakshmi. She has various formats: Siddha Lakshmi, Moksha Lakshmi, Jaya Lakshmi, Saraswati, Sri Lakshmi, Vara Lakshmi, Prasanna Mama Sarvada. May she be constantly pleased and bless each one of us, those who are here and those who are not here. May she bless everyone. So that brings an end to the Sri Sukta. And I was debating, should I complete the Durga Suktam tomorrow? Which I can. But since day before yesterday, I have been receiving constant calls saying that this Saturday please do not have the talk. We want to attend, but please do not have the talk. So I was in a dilemma. So concluding the dilemma, I think I will end the talk today here. So Sri Devi's blessings are, I think, fully gained. Now whenever Durga Devi blesses, we will think about Durga Sukta. I thought, having explained all the introduction to the Sri Sukta, explaining the Durga Suktam becomes easy, because 90% of it is already explained. I just have to say ditto. This word we have already explained, it is the same meaning that continues. But her wish seems to be different, and so be it. So we will deal with the Durga Suktam some other day, some other time. Tomorrow we don't have the Yajna. We conclude it today itself. So after the Shanti Pata, you can come take the Prasad. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.